The psychopath in the blue van. I've never really believed in that feeling people describe when the hairs on the back of your neck stand up because you sense something's wrong. At least, not until this happened. Now, I know exactly what that feels like, and it's not something you ever forget. It started about 6 months ago. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Pretty normal neighborhood, middle class, quiet. The kind of place where you know your neighbors well enough to wave, but not enough to actually hang out. At first, it felt like nothing, just this old blue van that I started seeing around, beat up, scratched paint. One of the side windows was cracked and covered with duct tape. No company logo, nothing. Just a plain, faded blue van. The first time I noticed it, it was parked across the street from my house. Didn't think much of it, thought maybe someone was visiting a neighbor or something. But then it showed up again. The next day, same van. Parked a little further down the street. Engine off. Windows rolled halfway down. No one inside, or at least no one I could see. Then I noticed it a few days later while I was at the grocery store. Same van. Parked a few rows away, I brushed it off again. Coincidences happen, right? I wanted to believe that. But then it started happening more. At the gas station. On my way to work. Driving behind me. Sitting parked on side streets I passed regularly. That's when the anxiety really started kicking in. I began paying attention, writing down partial license plate numbers when I could see them. But weirdly, sometimes the plate was covered with mud. Other times, completely removed. I started questioning myself. Was I imagining this? Was this some kind of weird paranoia? But deep down, something in my gut was screaming, this isn't right. Then things escalated. One night, I got home late from work. It was almost midnight. As I pulled onto my street, I saw it. The van. Parked 2 houses down from mine. Headlights off. No movement. I pulled into my driveway and just sat there, waiting, watching, hoping that whoever was inside would either leave or show their face. Nothing. I went inside, locked every door, closed every curtain, turned on every outside light. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound made me jump. The next morning, the van was gone. But that day, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. I went to grab my mail and found something wedged between my front door and the frame. A folded piece of paper. No envelope, just a note. It said, "Nice house. You seem like you live alone." I felt like I was gonna throw up. My legs nearly gave out. I called the non-emergency police line, reported everything, gave them the partial place I had, described the van, the note. They said they patrolled the area more frequently, but unless the guy actually did something, there wasn't much they could do. For a while, nothing happened. Weeks went by. I started convincing myself maybe it was over, maybe he'd moved on. I was wrong. One night, I was driving home from visiting a friend. It was late. Roads were empty. I pulled onto this long stretch of road that cuts through an industrial area, no houses, no businesses open that late. Just warehouses and lots. That's when I noticed headlights behind me. Bright. Close. Closer than they should have been. I checked my mirror. My stomach sank. It was the van. The blue van. Tailgating me. Getting closer. High beams flicked on, flooding my mirrors. I couldn't see a thing. I hit the gas, 60, 70, 80, but the van stayed right behind me. No honking, no attempt to pass, just glued to me. Then it got worse. He pulled into the opposite lane like he was about to pass, but didn't. Instead, he started veering closer to my side, almost clipping me, forcing me toward the edge of the road. There were no barriers, no guardrails, just a steep ditch off the side. I slammed the brakes. The van shot forward, then slammed its own brakes, skidded sideways, blocked the entire road in front of me. For a split second, everything froze. My headlights lit up his windshield, but I couldn't see his face. There was something covering it. A mask. A white, expressionless mask. Then the driver's door cracked open, just a few inches, enough for me to see a boot hit the pavement. I didn't wait. I threw my car into reverse, slammed the pedal, tires screeched. spun the wheel, did a full 180, and floored it the way I came. Didn't care about stop signs. Didn't care about red lights. I just drove. I made it to a gas station, pulled in, shaking, called 911, told them everything. The location, the van, the man in the mask. Cops arrived within minutes. They searched the area, but no sign of him. No sign of the van. They took my statement, but honestly, it felt like they didn't believe me. Maybe they thought I exaggerated. Maybe they thought it was some road rage incident. But I knew. I knew exactly what it was. I went home that night, terrified. Didn't sleep. Spent the next day installing cameras around my house. Bought motion lights, new locks, carried a knife everywhere. For about a month, nothing. No sign of him. I started thinking maybe he gave up. Maybe he realized I wasn't going to be an easy target. Until one morning, I walked out to my car, and there it was. A deep scratch across the driver's side door, carved into the paint. 3 words. Found you again. I froze, looked around, no sign of the van, no sign of anyone, but I knew he'd been there. He'd stood right next to my car, inches from my house, watching, waiting. That was it for me. I packed a bag, called my boss, took time off, stayed with family across the state for over a month. When I came back, the van was gone. Haven't seen it since. But every time I drive, every time I pass a blue van, I check. I hold my breath. I watch my mirrors. Because I know people like him don't just stop. He didn't pick me randomly. He chose me, watched me, followed me. And I don't think people like him ever really go away.